apparently millennials as a generation, which is a group of people who were born approximately 1984 and after, are tough to manage. And they're accused of being entitled.
We do have a generation that I think we have raised with a great degree of entitlement, where it's like, the world owes me a living.
What do you think of millennials? Coddled, entitled?
Yes, I think so.
Really?
I do.
They would rather be unemployed than take a job that they think is beneath them.
You can break it down into four pieces, right? There are four things, four characteristics. One is parenting, the other one is technology, the third is impatience, and the fourth is environment.
This is a problem with millennials, but it's not a problem created by millennials. This problem was created by parents who didn't do the singular most important job they had as a parent.
The generation that we call the millennials, too many of them grew up subject to, not my words, failed parenting strategies.
Now there's many different nicknames for my generation. There's Generation Y, Gen Y, Generation Me, Echo Boomers, but for those who want to get real creative, they tend to use this little moniker. The worst generation. Yeah. See also, the worst generation ever. Yeah. Nice and subtle, no? Clearly, there's a lot of people out there who don't carry a very high opinion of my generation. I mean, what did you think of when I first said that word, millennial? Well, if you're like many researchers, writers, psychologists, and other talking heads, that term likely doesn't carry a very positive connotation. You likely conjured up images of tattered man buns, photoshopped selfies, and savage memes with no chill. You likely think of a culture that's given birth to keeping up with a certain plastic surgery-obsessed reality TV family and twerking pop stars with their tongues out. Leaked nudes, celebrity Snapchat scandals, fake followers, Twitter trolls, all of these things are the unfortunate and ugly hallmarks of what it means to be a part of our generation. We're viewed as narcissistic, entitled, and overly sensitive. We ask for too much but deserve too little, people say. We'd rather be famous than be kind, and we're more interested in receiving dick pics than we are in receiving diplomas. Yes, in the minds of many, we're the generation that expects to have its cake, eat it too, but only, of course, after putting it in the perfect lighting, taking a picture on our phones, uploading it to Instagram, and hashtagging food porn. Nice. It's worst. Clearly, this is a less than flattering depiction of what is the largest age grouping in American history. There are currently over 80 million millennials in the United States, which makes up an entire quarter of our country's population and is now the demographic that is dominating the workforce. Now you'd think, well, okay, if nothing else, at least we're the biggest, we're the baddest, right? Well, not so fast. More millennials actually live at home with their parents than any other generation in American history. That's right, more than a third. 32% of millennials age 18 to 34 come home from work or from school to a stocked fridge and free Wi-Fi, and the only rent they pay is helping mom and dad work the Apple TV. Okay, now let me make this clear. I don't mean to be too harsh to millennials because, like I said, I am one. And what's more is, what might surprise you is I'm actually a proud millennial. You might even go so far as to call me a millennial advocate. That's how passionate I am. Why? Well, first of all, it's because I don't subscribe to these caricatures of my generation that I've just talked about. Sure, they might get a laugh, but I don't think they're anywhere near indicative of who we actually are. I think these are very surface level stereotypes. And like any stereotype, you'll find some who fit the bill perfectly. And I'm sure there really are plenty of millennials out there who really do spend the bulk of their day fighting in YouTube comment sections and asking people to catch me outside. How about that? Okay? But here's my question. Why are those the millennials that get to become the poster children for my generation? Because as hard as society tries to label millennials as whiny and unmotivated, this is far, far from my experience. I maintain that the negative attributes been given to millennials are all part of just one big misunderstanding. This perception that millennials are selfish and effete is really just a skin-deep analysis when there's a much deeper and much more positive reality at the core. All you've got to do is look past the surface to see that millennials are actually changing the world for the better because our positives are born from our perceived negatives. Here's what I mean. For example, what many see in us as narcissistic is also just a supreme confidence in our abilities. The kind of confidence that allows us to start our own company, become the CEO of that company, the kind of confidence that drives us and propels us to think we can create an app that will disrupt an entire industry. Another one, what many people see in us as entitled, is also just a natural expectation for success. The natural expectation that we don't have to work in an office 9 to 5 in order to make a living. And if we do, then we expect that office has 3 different lunch menus, video game break rooms, and nap pods for when we need to take a nap. I mean, I've been to Google, I've been to YouTube headquarters, I've seen these things, and they exist because millennials exist. I'm confident I could assign each one of the negative characteristics that my generation's been given, such as more selfish, more arrogant, more entitled, as a direct result of a generation that's also more creative, more free thinking, and more innovative than any other generation before us.